Air India Flight 171, a Boeing 747 named Emperor Ashoka, departed Bombay for Dubai on New Year's Day, 1978. On board were 213 people, including 23 crew members led by Captain Madan Lal Kukar, a highly experienced pilot. The weather was clear, and all pre-flight checks were normal as the jet lifted off into the night sky. The initial climb was smooth, city lights fading below, and everything seemed routine. But just 1 minute after takeoff, the aircraft began a scheduled right turn, and then something went wrong. Instead of leveling out, the plane continued banking, this time to the left, its nose dipping toward the sea. The pilots were suddenly confronted with conflicting instrument readings. The captain's primary attitude indicator malfunctioned, showing a false horizon. Disoriented, the crew struggled to understand the aircraft's true position. The 747 entered a steep, descending spiral. Passengers and crew felt the unnatural movement as the plane lost altitude rapidly. In just over 100 seconds from takeoff, Flight 171 plunged into the Arabian Sea, only 3 kilometers from the coast. The impact was catastrophic. There were no survivors. The crash's root cause was a failed attitude director indicator, or ADI, on the captain's side. The ADI became stuck, misleading Captain Kukar into believing the aircraft was stable, while it was actually rolling left. The captain relied on his faulty display, ignoring backup instruments and the first officer's warning. This breakdown in cockpit communication proved critical. The tragedy of Flight 171 was not just mechanical, it was a failure of teamwork. In the final moments, spatial disorientation overwhelmed the experienced crew. Captain Kukar trusted his faulty ADI, convinced the aircraft was responding incorrectly. This is called the leans, when a pilot's senses and a malfunctioning instrument create a powerful illusion. The first officer's warnings weren't forceful enough to break through the captain's fixation. The cockpit hierarchy of the era made it difficult for junior crew to challenge the captain. As the bank angle increased, the nose dropped, and the 747 entered an unrecoverable dive. The captain never handed over control, and the first officer didn't take it. The failure was not just technical, but in the crew's inability to manage the emergency. Automated warnings and desperate words filled the cockpit as the plane spiraled down. Passengers and crew endured extreme forces in the final seconds. The entire event lasted less than 2 minutes. Flight 171's crash became a stark lesson in the importance of teamwork and situational awareness. India's Directorate General of Civil Aviation led the investigation, recovering the black boxes from the seabed. Data showed the aircraft's systems and engines were functioning normally. The focus shifted to the failed ADI and the crew's response. The official report concluded the crash was caused by irrational control inputs from the captain, who was unaware of the true attitude due to his malfunctioning instrument. The first officer's failure to take decisive action was also noted. The captain had a history of flying with a toppled ADI, a known issue with older models. The report highlighted the need for better training in instrument failure and crew coordination. Crew Resource Management, or CRM, was still new, but this accident showed why it was vital. The investigation stressed that authority in the cockpit should never silence safety concerns. Boeing suggested a possible rudder issue, but data did not support this. The final conclusion, instrument failure compounded by human error, caused the tragedy. The findings were accepted worldwide. Flight 171 became a case study in aviation safety. The loss of Flight 171 led to lasting changes in aviation. Airlines worldwide adopted crew resource management, training pilots to communicate, challenge, and collaborate. Cockpit culture shifted from rigid hierarchy to teamwork. Technology improved. Modern aircraft now use digital displays with self-diagnostics, making instrument failures easier to detect. Standby indicators are now more prominent and reliable. Pilot training includes realistic simulations of instrument failure and spatial disorientation. The mantra became, "Trust your instruments, but verify." The crash showed that the most important safety feature is a well-trained, coordinated crew. Lessons from that night are now woven into pilot training and cockpit design. Air travel is safer because of what was learned from Flight 171. Its legacy is one of progress, born from tragedy.